Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Carol Guy, and welcome to MindShifters Radio here at Earth Angels Radio. Michael, Ryce, and Jeanie will not be here today, so myself and Dave Hayes will be hosting the show. If you'd also like to call in today with any questions or anything in the chat room, the call-in number is 646-200-4169, or you can type anything in the chat room, and we will get to your questions as well. So let's welcome David Hayes on. Hi, David. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, Carol. Thank you so much for being willing to be on here. And as you were saying that Michael and Jeanie, Michael's actually out of range of a cell phone. He's doing Why Again workshops this week down in the Keys. And Jeanie is visiting with her family today and spending some time. It's been since November since she was connected. And also, I would imagine that Terry is on the line. He's there to support. And a couple of other people. We invite you to call in with your questions at 646-200-4169. And the MindShifters group, what it is about, if this is your first time tuning in, began back in January, that Carol was gracious enough in order to provide the space for Michael to do his work on him. The purpose of the MindShifters group is to support people in shifting in their mind the way that they perceive things, some of the realities that they carry in there. Normally, within what people do throughout the country and throughout the world is that they meet once a week. Dr. Tim Hayes may be on there today. He facilitates a MindShifters group in Chicago, or actually it's in Crystal Lake, and he may chime in there today with some things. And what we wanted to do was today and this week is to focus on how to operate, to run, facilitate a MindShifters group. And so I'd like for anyone that has some input about what they've been doing with the group and what they observe to call in and offer some ideas and suggestions. One of the things about doing this radio show, and I've thought about it, Carol, is that, what I'm going to be giving everyone is my perceptions and my beliefs around what it is about Michael's work and where I'm coming from. And the purpose of the MindShifters group is for people to delve in and to check and see what it is that they believe and where they're going with it. And I thought that one of the things what we would do is to do one of the key thoughts from Michael's book each day and offer folks an exercise to do each day, and then maybe check in and see with us and let us know how it's going. In his book, and I'm going to read this right from his book, that he talks about at the beginning of it, life with tools is awakening and delight. Information with tools is power. Power with tools is service. Relationship with tools is interdependence. Knowledge with tools is safety. Commitment with tools is a blessing. Abundance with tools is easy. Health with tools is natural. Learning with tools is education. Ambition with tools is accomplishment. A world with tools is peaceful. Having tools and using them leads us to aliveness. Life without tools is sleep and hell. Information without tools is impotence. Power without tools is dictatorship. Relationship without tools is codependence. Knowledge without tools is dangerous. Commitment without tools is hopeless. Abundance without tools is loss. Health without tools is impossible. Learning without tools is chaos. Ambition without tools is corruption. A world without tools is war. Having tools and not using them in life is life without tools. So we invite folks to go to the website of www.whyagain.com. That's WHYAGAIN.com. And go to the tools. Go and download the different tools. And we'll be talking about them and implementing the tools in our life. With that, as it said at the end of it there, to have the tools and to not use them is life without tools. just because that I have a toolbox full of tools, of carpentry tools, they don't do anything. They don't build any houses. They don't construct anything, and without putting them into use. So I'd like to invite people to do that and to participate. This is just as if we were all live sitting around in a group. This is about feedback from each other about what is going on. That's communication of what it is that I'm putting out there and saying the words that I'm vibrating in the brain cells and everyone out there. And everyone sees everything differently. My friend Ken, who is here at Heartland doing some support in getting ready for the intensives this summer, he was saying, everybody looks at the world totally differently. We can look at a tree and everyone sees, we'll agree it's a tree, and we all see it differently. That's just the way that it's made up. So I'd like some invite, and any time that anyone would like to have a question into the chat room or comment about what it is that we're doing or questions about it, and their perspective of it, so that then we can add to the hologram of what it is that we're seeing and creating in this world. So,
David, I think Terry is on the line, so let's bring him on as well. Terry, is that you?
It's me. How's it going today?
It's fabulous, Terry. Good to hear your voice once again, each day. How are things in North Carolina?
They're wonderful. We've had all kinds of weather.
All kinds of what?
Weather.
Okay.
Yeah, we had snow a few days ago, and then sunshine, and then rain, and then sun and rain. So it's just it's been a real change. The spring is starting to burst forth, and people get busy with the projects and moving around the activities. So it's in the spring. We're moving into the spring here.
Yeah. Kind of like doing our work, isn't it? We know what's coming, and we know that things are going to be surfacing, and what can we expect and what can we watch for? A lot of folks within, if you listen to what people are talking about, most of the time people will, if you meet them, they say, well, how are you? And they'll talk about the weather for a minute. And usually what they get into, wow, in the summertime with them, oh, it's so hot. And then they get to the wintertime, oh, it's so cold, I can't wait for winter. Or it gets spring, and now it's raining and so forth. And it's interesting that, that's the way it is. I used to tell people, I say, that's the way it does at this time every year. It's always like that. We're having a fabulous, gorgeous day here, clear skies. Yesterday it was overcast and cloudy, and today it's really fabulous. So what I thought I would do is to take one of the key thoughts for today, and that key thought is in the book, and incidentally anyone can go to the website and download the book for free as well and to read it. And so if you wanted to check it out, the key thought is in the very first beginning of the book in the dilemma, and the key thought is violence is an attempt to control. The more insecure or out of control people feel, the more violent will be their thoughts, words, and actions. And it's kind of like, when Michael talks about at the beginning of his Why Again workshop, that we come into this world that if you think about the essence of a child, what is that child when it's born? If you were to put a word to that, and most people will put innocent, joy, happiness, miracle. I was talking with my cousin this morning, and what is it that represents that child? A word to identify. And miracle was one that came up. And so then what has to happen for us to come in as a miracle of all this joy and then resort to something that's anything unlike that love, which when we do the workshop, it's like, have you ever done anything that you now regret? And what were you feeling when you did what it was that you did? And most of the time within people will put anger, fear, or hostility, or disappointment, sadness, grief, guilt, shame. And we kind of put that's the non-being mind. That's coming from fear and hostility. And the more violence and violence is an attempt to control people, an attempt to control, to keep from feeling the things that it is that we're feeling. So that's the key thought that maybe we can focus on today and invite people to make some comments about that. Anything from you, Perry, or Carol? And I invite you, Carol, to participate. Jeanie was so excited yesterday. And she said, Carol was just so into it, and when she got to listen to it. And I said, well, she was that way when I was on there with her. So
thank you.
Anything that you'd like to
No. No, but just what you stated with that statement that says is so true, and people are just, like you said, people are so afraid of letting go of control, and they do get violent in their actions and their words, and that this is what has to be. If they learn that if they let go control, they'll actually have more control over their life and their minds, because they won't feel so out of control when they get to those states. And so just if they would just take a moment and realize that by doing the work they need to do to clear out that that have imprisoned them from being in control, it actually puts them out of control. That they will be actually experience freedom, which will give them a more control of their own self.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. That's the reason that at the end, when we do finally calm down and get to that place, and we go, wow, why did I do that again? Well, we only did that again because we were in that stage of stress, and it raised up. And the only thing that we can do is to behave the way that it is that we behaved when our stress got up. That's in our mind with that. And so violence is one of those. And I talk with people about when we hear about people that are really vicious with someone, or even to the level of murdering and killing people. And as people go off to war, do you know that when people are in war and they shoot somebody else, or they're in that violent act of what it looks like that it's a violent act, there's very few feelings that are in that. That's acting out of an unconsciousness. I assure you, because I am a veteran and I know what that experience is like, is that there's just an adrenaline, and then the act itself, there's no feelings in the act. Afterwards, there are some feelings that comes through with that. And so if we're not using the tools that we have in order to reinforce who it is that we are, our true essence, we're only going to act out of that carbon-based memory that drives our behavior.
Mm-hmm. So I think the feelings come afterwards. I think that's where people start feelings is afterwards, when the act has already happened. Then they start experiencing the feelings of that come up for them of guilt, shame, remorse, whatever it may be. I think that then they have to really look at those and face those. And it takes so much courage. It takes so much courage to look within yourself and to clean out your inner closet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And what really happens, though, if you look back, Carol, and in the audience, if you look back, what were you feeling when you did something that you now regret? And if you look back at it, you were feeling that feeling, and that's what drove your behavior. When you did the behavior, the feeling wasn't there. It was the feeling first that then drove the behavior. Then afterwards, after we've done the behavior, and then we come back and we start to look at that, then there's other feelings of guilt and fault and blame, which just reinforces it. We have to understand that the behavior is just a result of the feeling that we have. For often we've been taught, let's go out there, and if you would just do this differently, you'll feel better. And that's not true. We have to change what it is that's the thought that's in there that's driving the feeling, and then the behavior will change. And we've been taught that, no, change your behavior. And so often when people go out, okay, well, I'll change my behavior, I'll do something different. They may even do an affirmation or something, and okay, I'm behaving differently. Now, as long as they're concentrating on what it is that the behavior that they're doing, then they're in the moment of doing that behavior. Then all of a sudden when they stop doing the behavior, though, what happens? They go back and feel that way. and then they do the same behavior. It's kind of like this, in alcohol, and when people they do something, and the next morning or then they wake up and they go, oh God, why did I do that? I said I would never do that again, and they really, and they commit to, I'm never going to touch this again, or I'm never going to say this, or I'm never going to do that again, and then all of a sudden, though, as their stress gets up, then they'll do that same behavior. We have to go in and do the forgiveness work, which is in the Aramaic. It was about letting go and canceling out the energies, the hostilities, the fear, and the pain that is associated with that, so that then we change our perception about it, our realities that we hold. When we hold a different reality, we have a different feeling, and then we behave out of that feeling. We've just been taught backwards. And this may be new for a lot of folks to be able to look at it and to challenge it. One of the things that you'll hear Michael say a lot, and what I like to refer to is, what's insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expect to get different results. Well, people even change their behavior, that they do have different behavior, but if they haven't gone to the cause of it, of what they would, just even to hold on to it, to think, I'm not going to drink anymore, as an example. I'm not going to drink anymore. Well, what the mind is getting, the message is drink more. That's all that it is. That's the instruction that it's giving to the mind. So when we can go in and take a look at and see what it is, and this isn't about drinking. This is about using any kind of drug. I'm just using alcohol as an example because it's so prevalent. It's irrelevant of whatever the drug is. It's just a matter of what it is that I'm doing. It can be video games. It can be reading. It can be exercising. Dr. William Glasser wrote a book about 25 years ago called Positive Addiction. And after he put that book out, well, then he changed his belief about that, because he got to see, that being positively addicted to something that's not a good thing. When he first wrote the book, it was, and I did some work with him personally, and through his institute, and he got it that just to do something positive just keeps it concealed, just holds up. It gives a great feeling at that particular time. Then after that behavior is stopped, though, those feelings start to surface again based on the thoughts and beliefs that we have underneath it there.
Right. I think one of the number one things, too, we have alcohol, which is huge, and drugs, and shopping, and gambling, and sex, and eating, and, working out, like you said, all of these things, because I used to be a personal trainer, and I see people come in and they would spend hours on a treadmill. So all of these things can be things, but I think the number one thing that we have truly gotten addicted to is drama, and it's starting at an extremely young age. I have a friend that is a school teacher, and he's a school teacher for 6th grade this year, and the drama is so profound in some of these young people that and they're not doing the drugs, and they're not doing the alcohol yet, they're not doing all of these other things that as adults we start using these different things, but they are so addicted to the drama that it's causing and creating so much issues in their problem, but people are not seeing that because people are so addicted to drama. They're so addicted to their negative stories to get their attention.
I agree with you 100%. And the thing is that, in an insane asylum, Carol, the people that are in an insane asylum don't know they're in an insane asylum. The people that are asleep and that are living in the drama of all of it, they don't know that they're in the drama with it. So it's not like that there's something wrong with them, and I hope that the listeners are hearing this, is that it's not like that there's something wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anyone.
There's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely. You're perfect.
There's nothing wrong. And we have a dissociated mind that has been programmed to believe and to send out there, you need to do this, you need to do that. See, if I can convince, and look at that word, convince. If I can con you into believing something that is not real, then I have power over you, and I can get you to buy what it is that I want you to buy in order to then, now you get to feel good. And you're right, in the education system today, well then they're being inundated with information about, oh, well, do this, and you'll feel this way. And again, we're getting back to the basics of all of that.
Right. David, we have a caller. Would you like to take this caller?
Please, absolutely. Anytime there's a caller or a question in the chat room or someone has a comment, again, our intention is to open this up just as if all of us are sitting around in a room. You know, we have this technology today that if we can use it in an improper way, or we can use this in a great way that we want to connect with everyone. So, yes, caller, please go ahead. Comments, thoughts.
Okay, and if I want to just mention that if you'd like to call in, the number is 646-200-4169. So we have area code 870. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Ann. I'm calling from the Ozark Mountains as well.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome, Ann.
Yes, I live near I live near the Buffalo River. I don't know where you're located, but I live about 12 miles from Ponca.
We are in the Ozarks. We're at Theodosia, which is about 60 miles. You know where Theodosia is at?
Yes, I know where Theodosia is. Yes, that's lovely.
Okay, well, that's where we're at.
Okay.
You had a question for us, Ann?
Yes, I do. In 2007, my husband got a head injury in a car accident. And what shifted was this calm, sweet man now has outbursts of anger and become quite stubborn. And I'm trying to figure out how this anger with the brain injury relates to conversation and if it can be changed.
Wow. Well, take a breath with that, Ann. That sounds like that's a biggie. And I'm in no way proclaimed to have any medical advice about anything about what's going on. And the first thing that I'm reminded of is that with brain injuries, and there's a website, and I don't know the website. If you want to leave your phone number and or call me on my phone, if you want to leave your phone number or an email address, I'll send you this website. I don't have it off the top of my head. And it is about this fellow that does the brain research, and he is like the most renowned person. And what he talks about is that when there's an injury, and my guess is right now that his injury to his head was to the front of his head.
It was.
Yeah, because in the front of our head, see, that's where we have, in the frontal lobe, that's where we have the filters that are in there that will connect and to who it is, or whatever filter it is that we have in our mind that's connected to hostility or fear and our love. I mean, it's been proven that there are these filters, there's these connections in the brain, and when those filters are active, then the only thing that the brain, that the mind will see is things coming from fear. If the hostility filter is active, the only things that we can see are things that are coming through the filter of hostility. And when the filter in the Aramaic language, it was called Rachma, it was the love filter. And again, in the Tulane University, when they have scientific proof that this happens, when that part of the brain is active, then we see things through the filter of love. And
may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Was he unconscious for any length of time?
A couple of days, almost 3 days.
Almost 3 days. Can I offer a spiritual? This is a little bit different. It sounds like what I'm hearing is that his spirit didn't want to come back. And so he's angry that he's angry. His spirit is angry that it had to come back.
Okay.
So That's just what I'm hearing, and so he has to, on a spiritual level, make peace with his spirit again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Carol. And my offer as well is to take a look at what it is that's coming up for you, Anne, around all of this. Like, what are the feelings that it's triggering you? And
right.
If you go to the website and you download the forgiveness worksheet, and forgiveness, again, what forgiveness means is to let go of, to untie an energy that's in our system that doesn't belong in our system. And if you will work with that, because we live in this world of energy, of resonance, and when someone, as an example, my friend Ken over here is sitting here, if all of a sudden when Ken starts raging or doing something, have you ever gone into a room and where everything is really going peaceful and someone comes in and starts resonating rage, then everyone stops and they kind of look. And their energy, if they have rage in them, it gets triggered as well. And they may buy into it and all of a sudden there's rage that's going on. Or if people are being loving, well, then they resonate to that. And depending on what a person is going to do, they may stay there, they may leave, they may support a person in healing through that. It all depends on where that person's coming from. So this rage and hostility that your husband is expressing, know that it has nothing to do with you unless it's resonating something in you that has rage or hostility or fear, then it's your opportunity to heal that within you. And it's my belief that once you heal that within you, it opens up the space on an energetic level for anyone that's in your space in order to heal the hostility and anger and rage that's in them. That's the whole principle behind it. Pardon me?
That's very true, because what he's telling you, Ann, is very true, because the only thing you have control over is yourself, and whatever's coming up for you is the only thing that you can do to help your husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
okay.
Does that make sense, Ian?
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah, because
in order
you're a very loving person. Very loving. You're very loving. Very loving.
I try to be, but I feel very confused and very sad, and I do feel some anger coming up because I feel so confused and sad. So it's like a layering.
So breathe. Learn to breathe with that, and you might want to. If this is your first time listening, if you haven't gone to the website, go to the website and take a look and just read whatever that it is, or get the videos, or listen to the things on site. Do you have opportunity to be on the internet?
Yes, I do. Now, is the website? Is it posted in chat?
Yeah.
I will post it right here. I posted it earlier, but I'll repost it again.
Is it the why again?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I can get to
and
it then.
You can go to that, and my recommendation is that you start doing the worksheets immediately, because this is a major piece for you, Anne. And just start doing the worksheets without having to understand them and know it. What the mind usually wants to do is, because that the stuff is up, the mind's purpose, I'll tell you what, most people's, the understanding of the mind's purpose is to manage stress. That's its job, is to always manage stress, and it will always do behavior in order to manage its stress, whatever that it's been put in there. It sounds to me like you've got a lot of stress that's going on, and so I invite you to go just to start doing the worksheet, and the mind will want to know, well, what's going to happen? How is this? Because that's the mind's job, is to manage stress. We'll invite you to follow along in that worksheet and do the worksheet. If you have some questions about it, then come back on tomorrow and let us know how it is that you're doing with that. And we will support you in getting through the worksheet. That's what this is all about, to make a commitment to do the worksheets and then see how that's working for you. That's the biggest gift that I believe that you can give for your husband, because my guess is that you are doing your best at taking care of him. And when we don't know the medical things and we put our trust and belief in someone else of taking care of him, with a cranial injury like that, then there is some damage that's done. Now, know that can be healed as well too. I've seen lots and lots of things that can be healed.
Everything can be healed.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything can be healed. And may I make one more suggestion? You are in the Ozarks, and so is Heartland. Make a commitment to yourself. You may want to go up there and do an intensity workshop with them and get the support to help you through these times for you. Do this for yourself, because they are there. I don't know how far they are from you, but you're close. And so you may want to check going up there and doing an intensity and get for them to help you through this and get the support that you need.
Well, I really appreciate it. I didn't know that there was anything that close. We've just been using traditional counseling, that kind of thing, and it's fairly limited, as you know, in this area to try to find help. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, be sorry for nothing, Ann. Listen, most of the therapy out there, and this is a biggie to get, and you know what? There are all kinds of therapies, and I support all of them in doing the work, and as long as they're focused on doing the forgiveness work, and most things do not have the forgiveness element into it. They say to forgive, and this is how Michael got started with it, because he asked, he said, well, you just have to forgive them. Well, what does that mean? The only good thing that we have in our brains that says forgiveness, or at least the majority of people that I've known, as a matter of fact, all of them, then forgiveness was, I'll be bigger than you. I'll forgive you for what it is that you did, or I'll forgive God for what it is that's happened, or I'll forgive myself for this. And we're inviting you to never forgive yourself, God, or anyone else for anything. What you want to do is to go inside and let go of the energies of hostility, anger, fear, sadness that's in this energy system that doesn't belong in this system. We've just been educated. We've just been educated, and educate in our society today. If you look at the word educate, it comes from educar, which means to draw out. In our society today, to educate means to inundate, to put information in. Here, this is the way that it is. Here, this is the way that it is. Rather than to invite people to tap into their true self, their true essence, because you can heal anything and everything. You can.
Absolutely. You can.
It's an energy system.
We have the power, just as God and Jesus did, to heal absolutely everything within us. Absolutely everything. So check out their website and get and see what you can find, and you can go back and download any of these radio shows in the archives. They're all available, and all of this is available live for you to call in and get the support. And go to the website, thewhyagain.com, and find out and get the forgiveness worksheets. You can get the book there, and so we can start working with David and Michael and Jeanie to help you get through this.
Well, I thank you all so very much, and
You're welcome. And know that there's plenty of other tools out there, and there's plenty of people out there that will support you. Everyone's looking for support, and they first have to be supportable. And there are people that are right there in your area and that will support you in this. They just don't have the information and the tools of how to do it. We can only use what it is that we have. And if we're not conscious of it being there, then, it's just like with our parents. It's just like with the generations before. They didn't have the tools. We're all here, and we're talking to each other. And Carol was in Florida, and there's people all over the world. There was someone that was in the chat room from Germany the other day. So we have this tool now where we can connect with each other from anywhere for the support. Right. So it doesn't have to be right then and there. Our Mind Shifter group here each day is for that, with that support. So know that it's there, and know that that support is within yourself as well.
Okay. All right. That's
Absolutely.
so helpful.
Yes.
That's so helpful.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks so much,
so
Anne,
much
for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
be
Blessings
listening
to you.
Thank you.
Anne, how did you find out about us? Just curious, Anne?
I follow Earth Angels Radio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I listen to it. Yes, I really love your show.
Thank you.
That's the Earth Angel. That's the Earth Angel. How are you feeling now, Carol?
Awesome. I love it because we're all able to help others through these times that they need it, and so it's really awesome. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Blessings to you, Anne.
You too. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Carol, I invite you to take a breath and breathe that in of all of that. That is fabulous. That's the
It is fabulous.
It is for hearing that, wow, how wonderful is that? Congratulations. Very cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's what we're here to do, is to help people like her and many others to find their way home.
Yeah, and you know what's wonderful about that, I get this opportunity to experience it myself, because we're all connected and it resonates. And whatever resonates in someone else, it also resonates. If I have it in that energy in me, it resonates in me. When it's strengthened in me, then I get to grow. So to hear Anne say these wonderful things, and her level of willingness to call in and to say, you know what, it's time to do something different. That is
absolutely.
Big. That is. Your radio show and doing the work, then that resonates in me, really wonderful feelings, and it's like that strengthens me to do it another day. That's the purpose of this kind support group.
Absolutely.
And your
we have another caller here. I just want to mention that, you know what, we've been talking about some of the forgiveness stuff of these hostile and fear energies, but there's also those loving energies that we can resonate and activate in each other as well. And so those are the ones, those are the ones that, we love, and we want to have more of those energies to resonate within ourselves. So we have another caller here.
You just had a perfect example of it, Carol. That's
absolutely,
exactly what happens. That's the why we do the work. So we have a caller.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We do. It's area code 815. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Tim Hayes.
Dr. Tim.
Hello,
Tim. Hello.
Hey, Tim.
Carol, David, I was just calling to add to what you were saying for Anne and just reassure her that the process of the MindShifters group that's most powerful is the support that comes from others to help me do my work. And then, as David says, it opens a space for others to do theirs. And one of my favorite stories from our group, it happened probably a year and a half into the my first time with the MindShifters group, we announced and started working with the tool called the Commitment. And a gentleman came in a few weeks later, and he said, I just have to give a testimonial about this work. And he said, I've been using this Commitment with my wife, and now we can do the dishes together without fighting. On the weekends, our weekends are more enjoyable. We can actually go on bike rides again. And there was something else. There was a fourth thing he said that had literally transformed their relationship. And so I waited until he took a break, and I said, well, that's absolutely fabulous. And I asked him, how often do you read the Commitment to each other? And he said, I haven't told her about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome because you commit to yourself and heal that within you. It heals the world.
Well, and he had changed the way he interacted with her, and that changed their interactions dramatically. So if Anne is able to be aware of her fear and her anger and her sadness that gets stirred up when she's dealing with her husband, when he has his anger outbursts, if she can dismantle that within herself, it will dramatically change their interactions, and it will open a space for him. You can't make him do the healing, but the space is opened, and it makes a complete change in the interaction between myself and somebody else when I heal my hurt and my anger and my sadness and my fear.
So very true, very well spoken, Tim, and thank you for calling and bringing that up, because one of the things, and I love that it was perfect timing, and what resonated for me was when I mentioned about there were other tools, that was the tool that I thought about her using, and I often remember the story that you tell about the fellow. It doesn't matter whether the other person is in your presence. It's just about reading it. And I invite people to read it out loud as if the person is right there in front of them. Very powerful. Oh, it's great, Tim. So how are you doing, Tim?
Doing quite well, thank you.
Yeah?
Quite well.
You were telling me about your mom and that she's getting along better, that she's been in some healing?
Yeah, she had a new hip put in a week ago yesterday, and now she's able to sit and lay and walk without all that extreme pain, so it's been a pleasure to support her through that healing.
That's wonderful, wonderful. So,
well, it's nice to have you back on live and talking. As I was telling you this morning, I'm glad to hear that you were able to listen on a few of them, and it's always a pleasure to hear your comments and your thoughts around it. And thank you so much for the support that you have been giving to Heartland and to this work. Tim has been really active in keeping this information out to everyone that he comes into contact with. I would imagine that you do that. I can't imagine you doing it any other way.
Yeah, well, it's a wonderful thing, because when I first got the 4-hour audio of Why Is This Happening to Me Again, it was like a refresher course, and it was like coming home, because it's what I'd been telling people in therapy for 25 years. And since then, I've just been able to add the pieces from the ancient Aramaic and much of Michael's teaching to make it richer and deeper and more effective. And I teach this stuff in my individual sessions, and for people that can't afford to come see me individually, I encourage them to come to the support group, because every week we do exactly the same work that I do in my therapy sessions, helping people take responsibility for what they're creating and recognize when they're creating anything that's less than love, and then learning to dismantle that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's
beautiful,
right.
Beautiful. Yeah, can you imagine how the planet would be? And I'm talking about the planet itself, because the planet is a resonance of what it is that's going on with us as humans, although it's been projected that it's backward. It's really been proven now, quote, scientifically, unquote, that the energy that's coming from the earth is actually resonated from the people going into it. That's another story. Anyway, well, let's keep it all up. Do we have any more questions, or anyone in the chat room? Somebody has any comments? Terry, are you out there? You have any feedback? Any thoughts about anything?
Did we lose Terry?
Anyone? Okay. Well,
no, there's nothing in the chat room, and if anybody would like to call in, you can call in at 646-200-4169. I want to make a comment here too. Terry, you mentioned about coming home, and I mentioned it about coming home too a little bit earlier in the show. And then it's true, is as we do this work within ourselves, it is the feeling of truly coming home. And, we can do this work not just with the people that are living. You can also do this with people that have passed on as well. This weekend I went to Michael and Jeanie's intensity group, and earlier last week I lost my mother. And so I was working, and a lot of family issues were happening and stuff. So I was in the intensity group this weekend and working through that. So you can do this also with people that have passed on if you have any of these feelings that you need to clear up within yourself of the people that you have lost in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, absolutely, because you know what? They're still here. They may not be here in the physical form. They live inside us on an energetic level. And we carry everything that our parents carried, everything that our bloodline carried, and Michael often talks about that in that video, The Ghost in Our Genes, is really very powerful in that it shows, again, what Yeshua was saying 2,000 years ago, that these are the sins of the father, and it's not sins being something good or bad. The energies that are anything unlike love, because this is an energy of love, is put in there, then it is passed on to generation to generation to generation. And so, yeah, we have to do that work. That's part of it. You were talking about about coming home, and in the Beatitudes, within that's what it talks about. That when you have a home, it's your spirit. When you are in touch with that, that's your home. That's the Aramaic part of the soul. The soul is your spirit, and when you come into your soul, then everything is shown to you. When you listen to that inner guidance, that's your home. Then everything that you're doing out there, well, then you're coming from that space of love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what coming home is coming from that space of love within yourself. Yes. So
yeah, it's just it's reconnecting with who our true essence. We have forgotten, as Michael talks about it, that we've gone to sleep, that man went to sleep. We just have gone unconscious of who it is that we are. We're inundated, as you pointed out earlier in the show, that with all the advertisement, all of the marketing, the schools, it's constantly being berated with all of these stimulus that are outside of us. One of the wonderful things about coming here to Heartland and being in the Ozarks, we're 7 miles from any town. And that town, there's 230 people in population. And so you kind of get an idea of where we're at. And so all of the distractions, all of the stimuluses that are out there that continue to trigger the brain cells to keep it active, get to quiet down, so then you get to then tap into who it is that you are and really listen to that. We can't, if you've ever been talking on the phone, Carol, and all of a sudden somebody comes walking in the room and starts talking to you at the same time that you're talking on the phone, what has to happen? One, we have to, wait a minute, stop that. You have to get the person on the phone to hold on, or the person that's come into the room to hold on, because the mind is doing its best to focus on both of them. That's what we have. We have all of these stimuluses out there that's saying, do this, trigger this, and the mind is looking to manage all of those. It can't manage all of those. There's the stress that starts to get raised up. Then as soon as the stress is raised up to a certain level, we do the behavior that we did, as Michael talks about in the codependence to independence, that we all have a power person, that we do the behavior that we did when we resisted or survived with our power person. And then when we get ultimately stressed, we do the behavior that our power person did to us that we hated the most, that we said we would never do again. And that's automatic when that stress gets raised up there. There's that's what's going to happen. So to use the tools to build into it, and at the beginning of it we talked about that. You have to have tools in order to go through life. If you don't have the tools, it's going to be hell. It's literally going to be hell. And to have the tools and to not use the tools is like not having tools. What difference does it matter if I'm not using it? So we all have these tools, and when we use them, then we become better at that. We become more proficient with that. so that we can generate that type of energy that we have. So, of love. That's our true essence.
Okay, someone in the chat room does have a question. We have about 9 minutes left, actually, and their question is this all about focus?
Good question. It is about focus. What it is that we focus on is what we become conscious of. The thing of it is that on our conscious mind, there's only, that's the Harvard research that in a time frame of 10,000 stimulus is going on, there's only 10,000 bits of information firing. There's only 9 bits that we can see in the mind. So what it is that we focus on, we do become conscious of. Now, the thing of it is that if you look at a iceberg, an iceberg, 5% of the iceberg is out of the water. If you look at underneath of it, though, 95% of it is underneath of the water. That's is an example of our carbon-based memory, and that's what's running our show. If we focus on and we bring the things that's been running the show in our unconsciousness, and we bring it to the surface, then we have an opportunity to focus on it, become conscious of it, and then remove it. Unless we focus on it, unless we invite it and to then look at it. And here's the key, though. A lot of people will look and they'll go, oh, well, that's it. It's kind of like, I was in therapy for several years and everything, and it seems like that the mind says, well, if I could just figure out if there was this one thing and this one time, and if I can get that, oh, this is what happened, there's this event, now that I found that event, that doesn't change anything. Usually what happens then there has to be another event that I'm looking for. We have to learn how to focus on it, bring it to a conscious level, and then remove it, cancel it, let it go, forgive it. That's the true essence of forgiveness. And so, yes, to focus on it, yes. Now, focus, again, bring it to consciousness, and then choose to let go of that. So that's a very good question. And
right.
I wonder
I think it's also about commitment. It's about it's really about commitment to yourself, not to anyone else, but commitment to yourself that you really want to rid yourself of this hostility and fear, and you want to live in that space of love and committing yourself to doing so. So when you commit to yourself, then you focus on what it is you truly desire.
Absolutely, and guess what, Carol? We have a tool for that. If anyone would like to go to the website and download as Tim talked about, there's a tool called My Commitment, and then there's a tool called My Commitment to Myself. If everyone would do this, and maybe this is the exercise that we take in for tomorrow. So anyone that's listening, if you're willing to do this, because it plays right into our key thought for the day, violence is an attempt to control. If you will download and read My Commitment to Myself out loud in front of a mirror today and focus on that, bring that to your consciousness, and then see what processes through. And then we can talk about it tomorrow. So if anyone would do that, especially the person that's in the chat room, if you would like to practice with that and focus on that, and then come back tomorrow and tell us what it is that you noticed that by focusing on that, because you're exactly right. You must focus on it. The problem of it is that when people focus on something that brings something up, they go focus on something else. That's called the dissociated mind. That's dissociating it from what it is that's been brought up to that. And what we want to do is, we want to bring that dissociated mind to consciousness to let it go.
Right. Well, the thing is when those feelings come up, people don't want to feel. It takes, like I said, it takes a lot of courage to feel. It really does. So if you are feeling and you are doing this work, give yourself a pat on the back that you are open and willing and committed to feeling it, to bring it up and out of you. And so because people so many times want to run from those feelings. Oh, this doesn't feel good. I'm not going to feel this. You know, and that's what a lot of the teachings are teaching you is, okay, you're feeling that, so change your feeling. So, but you can't change the feeling if you don't get rid of it. You want to get rid of it first. So if you're feeling it, be grateful and say, okay, I don't want to just change the feeling right away, but I want to get rid of this feeling so I don't no longer have to feel this anymore. And so look at those feelings. If it's coming up, be grateful and grab a worksheet, go to the website, download some stuff, call in, get the support and the tools you need to get rid of the feeling. You can't build a house just to do it. So there's lots of tools there.
So very true, Carol. And the thing is that, you know, when people are feeling it, we've been taught to believe that pain is bad and we want to get rid of the pain. That's insane in a sense, because of the fact the way that we've been taught to get rid of the pain is to dissociate from it through drugs and behaviors and doing certain things so that I won't feel this way. And the key word is I won't feel this way, supports in feeling that way. You want to be able to let go of what it is that you're feeling, and the universe will always bring those feelings around to you, always.
Right.
Pain is the signal to say there's something that's in your system that you need to let go of. So it's wonderful. Accept pain. And notice that in the book, and here's a quote from it is, if I'm in pain, I'm in error. If you would teach your mind, and the mind is, again, its purpose is to manage stress, it's to alleviate things, then when you're in pain, then there's something in your energy system that needs to be removed. Rather than to sedate it, rather than to dissociate from it, acknowledge it, as Carol said, that it's there, and then ask the question, what is it that I need to forgive in me?
Right.
What is it that I need to forgive?
We have about 3 minutes left. You know, I call it, David, your inner compass. And just like a ship, if a ship is off course and its compass is pointing it into a direction that is not good for it, the captain's not going to ignore that the compass is off, because who knows what it might run into. It might run into an iceberg like the Titanic did, you know. So when your body was designed with this inner compass with feelings, and so when you get those feelings that your compass is off course, it's finding the tools you need to get your compass back on course, because you don't want to ignore it and you don't want to medicate it or just push it away or bury it. You want to get yourself back on course in the right direction.
Exactly, right. You know, I remember hearing a long time ago that I'm not my feelings. I have feelings, but I'm not my feelings. And we've been so programmed to believe that we're our feelings, and if I can just feel a certain way, then I can be. See, one of the things that we come into this world as a being, and then we've been instructed that, if you want to be, you have to feel a certain way. And if you want to feel a certain way, you have to do or think a certain, you have to do a behavior in order to do it. And that's backwards. We have it backwards.
Right.
We're being rather than, and that's what we've been taught to do. If I can just do enough, and if I can just figure it all out, then I can be. And
right.
The opposite.
So, we're down to seconds left.
Beg your pardon?
So we're down to seconds now.
Okay, well, then if anyone would like to go to www.whyagain.com and download the My Commitment to Myself, read it out loud to yourself today. That will be the exercise that we're going to invite you to do. And keep that key soft. Violence is an attempt to control. The more insecure or out of control people feel, the more violent will be their thoughts, words, and actions, because it breeds on itself. So in the same way, do the commitment to yourself. That's the loving thing to do. That's the kind thing to do versus the violent thing to do.
Absolutely. So many blessings, everyone. Thank you for joining us, everyone in the chat room, all the callers, all the listeners. And blessings to Michael and Jeanie on a safe journeys. And thank you, David. It was wonderful to do a show with you again.
Thank you so much, Carol. Talk with you soon. Blessings, everyone. Namaste.
Blessings, and join them again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, MindShifters Radio, here at earthangelsradio.com on Blog Talk Radio. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.